This exceptional volume of false or misleading statements, documented relentlessly by fact-checking organizations to be in the tens of thousands over a single term and continuing at a high frequency in the current administration, indicates a rhetorical strategy that transcends mere political inaccuracy. It represents a comprehensive shift in the discourse itself. The current list of over 20 recent claims, spanning military pay, energy costs, public construction, and basic constitutional law, serves as a concentrated study in the tactical use of falsehoods, demonstrating that the goal is not persuasion through evidence but saturation through repetition. This approach, often described as a fire hose of falsehood, is designed to overwhelm the media's ability to correct every claim, ensuring that while individual falsehoods are debunked, the general, self-serving narrative persists. We see a consistent, deliberate exaggeration of successes and a maximalist use of hyperbole to define achievements in relation to the past. For instance, the claims on military pay raises and economic metrics like energy costs are not merely inaccurate. They actively diminish verifiable improvements made by previous administrations while inflating current struggles or minimizing actual cost increases. By insisting energy costs are down, when federal data shows they are, in fact, up, or by asserting a smaller military pay raise is superior to larger prior ones, the speaker attempts to create a completely bifurcated reality where emotional loyalty to the stated outcome overrides any fidelity to the verifiable data. This pattern extends into the personalizing of government and the blurring of public-private responsibilities, particularly evident in the peculiar claims regarding the White House construction. The assertion of personally paying for it, 100%, even while the White House itself admits to relying on undisclosed Patriot donors, functions as an effort to wrap a public infrastructure project in a veneer of personal beneficence and sacrifice, transforming a presidential decision into a grand, philanthropic gesture. Similarly, the simultaneous downplaying of a significant government structure like the East Wing as a very small building, while ordering its demolition for a new ballroom suggests a disregard for institutional continuity, prioritizing personal legacy over historical architecture, further underscoring the narrative that the institution exists primarily to serve the leader's vision. The claims concerning law enforcement, political violence, and the Insurrection Act are designed to generate an us versus them polarization by deploying fear and false equivalence. The insistence that political violence is predominantly a problem of the left, despite documentation often pointing to the contrary, is a classic example of misdirection, aiming to solidify the base by casting political opponents as the primary aggressors and existential threats. Even more dramatically, statements about cities being burning to the ground or claiming the Insurrection Act has been used by almost 50% of presidents, a clear, easily disproven numerical distortion, serve to justify the consolidation of executive power and create a constant state of perceived national crisis that only dramatic, non-traditional solutions can solve. This kind of numerical exaggeration, whether about past actions or current crime rates, heightens the drama and makes the political moment feel uniquely perilous, reinforcing the leader's necessity. Perhaps the most potent aspect of this strategy is the mechanism of repetition, leveraging the psychological phenomenon known as the illusory truth effect, where repeated exposure to a statement, regardless of its validity, increases the perception of its truth. Claims about 80 different vaccines for small children or the discredited link between Tylenol and autism are not aimed at medical professionals but at a general audience, where their repetition makes them sound familiar, and therefore, plausible, even when they contradict mainstream scientific consensus. Politically, this technique reaches its zenith with claims like being the only country in the world that uses mail-in voting, or suggesting a desire for an unconstitutional third term. The very act of repeating the latter claim, though it directly defies the 22nd Amendment, injects the idea of limitless presidential tenure into the political bloodstream, normalizing the erosion of fundamental democratic guardrails. Ultimately, this high-volume pattern of inaccuracy forces the entire political ecosystem, the media, political opposition, and the electorate, to spend its energy grappling with a manufactured reality, effectively draining attention from substantive policy debate and establishing an alternate field of play where verifiable fact has been made irrelevant by relentless assertion.